Welcome to DBC Finance. Today, I'm going to show you how to create a quick debt sizing in DBC Finance through the debt size module. When you click on desktop, the DBC Finance icon, it should open to the last database you've been working on. Within that database, you can select the issuer name, click on New, or right mouse click, or F5 key to produce a menu. And this will allow you to create from the database as many issuers as need be. From the issuer, you can click on, again, New, F5, or right mouse click. This will allow you to create a proposed series, actual series, refundings, project finance, and so forth. Today, we're going to do a quick new money series. Give it a short and long name. Short name up to 8 characters long. Click OK. I'd get in a habit of either clicking the Save button or Control S, and it should tell you at the bottom if it's been saved or not. DBC Finance is structured in a way that most logical as possible, meaning we will start off entering in general bond information, then the bonds themselves, then the project funds, cap Is, reserves, all the way down to finally, how do we want to structure this particular deal? So we can start with 7/1/2024 and then 1/1/2024. Oops. (2025). Anywhere in the program, hit the F1 key, will give you a lot more information pertaining to that particular tab. General cost of issuance and underwriter's discount can be entered in here. I typically advise creating them in the expense section, a number of reasons. One, you're limited in how you can set up cost of issuance. It has to fall under one of these 3 settings. And the other issue is you cannot see it in the general area of the debt size module. Bond components, this is where we can set up our serials, terms, cab serials, cab terms, convertible cabs, say 40. $46. By default, more times than not, you're going to be creating serial bonds, so you will not need to make any changes in the general information tab. If this happened to be a cab serial, you would make the change here, an interest payment option, compound until maturity date, compound until final compounding date, a convertible cab. And obviously down here, price to final maturity would be for a term bond. Maturity structure tab, an enter dates box appears. If you get out of this area, come back and you do not see it, again, F5, right mouse click, should pull up a menu and you could go to enter dates. You can cut, copy, paste from Excel into DBC Finance, whether it's dates, amounts, rates, yields, or price. Obviously, you would have to enter in the rates self or copy and paste. We also have an MMD capability if you have a TM3 account, which you can enter in through tools, preferences, internet settings, I'm going to the point is you would be entering in your rates, yields, and prices. It's important to note that do not enter in rate, yield, and price for a particular maturity. Allow the program to have at least one out of those three automatically uh, calculate the correct unprotected cell. Going to create a term. Only change that you would make is price to final maturity. And again, you would enter in the rate, yield, price. Make sure it's the same. The difference in the program in knowing if it's a term or a serial is by the serial term selection, serial bond, term bond. So this particular maturity structure, this one term, sinking fund payment date started in 2047 and it matures in 49. One more term bond. Let's say it's term 54. Again, this is information that you know that you'll be putting in. Make sure term bond is selected. If not, it will assume these are 5 serial bonds. Project fund, a number of ways. If you know what the target par amount happens to be, you can enter it in and then set your investment amount to excess proceeds. You can also enter in draws, the dates, and the requirements. So there's a number of different ways. In this case, we are going to enter in a $250 million investment amount for the project fund. Pretty much everywhere except itemized expenses, requirement section or draw section of a fund. If you're going to enter in an amount, it'll be in thousands. Debt service reserve fund. Actually, let's do cap by. Net funded GIC. And we're going to have bond interest accrued through about 6/1/2025. Debt service reserve fund. We're going to apply the interest earnings first to another fund, in this case, cap I, and then it will draw down debt service. Requirements draws, we could do the lesser of test, 10% of par. Average annual adjusted debt service. You can also click on, pull up a menu. Just note that it's not limited to what's shown in the menu. Expenses, this is where you can create itemized expenses. You can create issuance costs, non-issuance costs. I'm going to show you something that I've created before and saved it through Tools Component Gallery, issuance cost. This mimics somewhat of the debt size assumptions, cost of issuance, and underwriter's discount tab, except you can enter in pretty much any formula. This is just an example, cost of issuance. You'd enter all here, underwriter's discounts. Finally, at the end, how do we want to solve? By default, level debt service. But in this case, I'd like to solve at level net debt service, net of interest earnings on the reserve fund and the cap I draws. Solution adjustments, adjust debt service, click OK. Pull up some reports. Modify. Net debt service. Formula verification. View the reports. Note on any one of these reports, if you want to see something that's different, either more detail, less detail, or you feel like something should be removed or added. In print preferences, you can go to the appropriate tab and usually can make that change there. For example, there's a sources and uses tab where you can show the itemized cost of issuance and or underwriter's discount instead of one line item. Bond summary statistics, what's included, what's not in the TIC, all in TIC and the arb yield, as well as the bond pricing. In this example, they're not priced to call, or there's not a call table set up. Bond debt service. Bond solution is a key report because it shows what's included and what's not included in terms of how you're structuring. In this case, we wanted net debt service to be level. If we had not made that solution assumptions, solution adjustments change, and you view the bond solution report, this would not be included. And that would tell you why the net debt service report is not level. Viewing just the net debt service report will still include the reserve fund and cap I, but it does not show how it's being structured. And you can see here, it all adds up. Finally, capitalized interest fund, you can see the reserve fund interest earnings flow into the cap I, as well as in the reserve fund. And finally, the formula verification report. This can be helpful, whether or not, in this example, the lesser of test will show you what is the lesser of, that's what gets deposited. In this case, the 125% of average annual adjusted debt service. If you question or want to know how that's being calculated, you can always hit the F1 key and you can go into our glossary. Well, hopefully this helps you in setting up quickly a debt sizing in DBC Finance. Thank you.